What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Smoking Weed and Talking MMA podcast. Coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world, where we are smoking on some delicious herb today. Paul just hit some Vader Kush from New Woo Dispensary. That's one of the biggest dispensaries here in town. Pretty cool place out on some Indian land up north of the Strip. Yeah, drive-through for weed. That's pretty dope. We got some Honey Banana number 5 from Zen Leaf. Zen Leaf is cool because they don't have prepackaged herb, which is one of the only places in town for that. We got some Shatter we're going to be hitting here, some Tahoe OG, all kinds of fine herb. And Paul, what did we just see? We just saw some shit. We just saw...
Yeah, so Strange Sunday card. So we got it in right before the podcast, and Anthony Lionheart-Smith with a nasty KO on Shogun.
That main event.
Sick.
Yeah, that was brutal. Made up for kind of a lot of decisions on a boring card overall. Yeah, it was a pretty boring
card otherwise.
That shit was sick.
It was nice.
Was absolutely brutal. Anthony with some really sick elbows right up against the cage. Shogun was literally out on his feet, cold, cage holding him up.
Started fighting the ref.
Yep, woke up fighting the ref. 38 years old for Shogun. And in fight years, he's more like 57.
Yeah.
I say it's time to hang him up.
The thing is, though, not necessarily, because now you're fighting a guy who's up and coming, who's like in his physical prime against a guy who's on the back end. That's supposed to happen, you know. Yeah. Like those moments are like we talk about it. Those moments are exactly what happened to him a month ago. Also with Rashad Evans, it's like
very true.
It's life changing. Yep. You know, like it's
a career.
Like we go back to with like who deserves title shots and everything. It's all about building your resume, you know. And if you've got fights against guys with big names, no matter how old they are, you're gonna get an edge above other guys who maybe fought someone who was just as good as them, but had like a close decision or something like that. You know, like maybe he just knocked out an old Shogun, but at the end of the day, that guy still was ranked 8th in the division.
Yeah, he's still ranked 8th. He's still a threat in the kind of the bare wasteland that is the light heavyweights, but. He knocked out Rashad. That was at 185. I think he looks just fine at 205.
Yeah, he looks pretty good at 205.
And fucking killer power seems to have translated up there just fine.
I thought him and Rashad was at 205 as well, I think.
That might have been, but he definitely was fighting at 85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them were fighting 205 and 85, but that fight they did fight at 205.
He's 6'4". He's still a big guy. Yeah, absolutely.
He's not a thick dude, but he's long.
He's coming into his prime, like you just said. He's got 13 losses on his record, but it's been a while. Most of those were pretty early. Over the last 5 years, he's just got 2.
When you're a guy who has like 40+, 45+ fights at age 28, you're going to have your ups and downs.
Hell yeah. So I'm excited about him because, like I just said, the light heavyweight, dude, it's a terrible division right now. There's no contenders. At this point,
yeah, there's no one making any splashes, you know.
And now we got him making a splash.
Well, the biggest like 2 like game-changing fighters are coming up from a division below him, you know, like if Yoel and Rockhold are both light heavyweight now, like that's dope, but like those 2 guys are the only other people really in that division you can look down and be like, yeah, you know, that They really put together a couple wins and deserved to fight DC.
Right.
I mean, other than Gustafson, but he just doesn't have. He doesn't have the star power, and it's really like weird.
Well, his lack of action has hurt him. I mean, he's been barely fighting. He's got like 3 fights in 3 years, something like that. It's not a lot of time we get to see him anymore since the John Jones fight. He's really laid pretty low.
Well, and then we're looking at now with this. This all ties back into Anthony Smith because now he's talking about he wants to be a late fill-in to fight Gustafson in about a month.
Now, I'd love to see that, but I don't think Gustafson will ever take it. Well, I doubt it, but as a replacement fight, I don't know if deserve comes into it.
But as Gustafson, do you take any fight you possibly can because it's a terrible PR move that you lose another fight and you haven't fought now in 2 years?
I don't think Gustafson will take it. He's holding on for that title shot, talking about chasing DC at heavyweight.
Okay, but if you're if you're Gustafson and you know you can beat him, do you take it?
I think you take it and you demand that it's a interim light heavyweight title at the minimum.
Which very well could happen.
I could see him taking it if they put a little bit of even a fake belt like that behind it. I could see DC saying, "All right, I'll fight him." Or I'm sorry, not DC, Gustafson.
Yeah, but then on the back end, I don't think even if he beats Gustafson, Smith will never fight DC. DC's gone.
DC's not fighting at light heavyweight again. Let's get real.
But honestly, if John Jones were to come back to light heavyweight, that's who would be waiting for him. You know, that's really if let's say things are going to go the bullshit way they're most likely going to go. DC's going to fight Brock in like December-ish, January-ish, and then he's going to retire. And then John Jones will probably spend another like year into the summer on suspension, and then that'll give Smith time to fight Gustafson and then blank, because there will have to be, once DC retires, there'll have to be some bullshit title fight. And it'll probably be like...
Ozdemir waiting in the wings there, too.
Yeah. And then it's like... It's one of those things where it's just going to be... Every division's going to be kind of in a weird place because the top guy is going to be gone.
Right.
You know? Like, even at heavyweight. Because if John Jones comes back and fights at heavyweight, same thing. He's going to... There's a couple fights that need to happen to see who would fight him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no clear-cut number one contender in either division, man.
No, it's a mess right now. And this ain't helping with the DC versus Brock, but sticking at light heavyweight, at least Johnson's bringing... Smith is bringing some... I'm determined to call this kid Johnson. I don't know why. I did it last time we talked about it in a couple episodes,
Keep
too.
thinking Rumble Johnson.
So fucking funny. Can't even say I'm high yet.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, still...
Lionheart
honestly,
bringing in some new blood, which is what we need.
Here's the thing, though. Can he do it at a level where, like, things aren't as slowed down? Because when you're fighting these older fighters, things are a little slowed down. There's a lot more control over what goes on in the fight. He hasn't really faced much adversity during either of those fights. Like, Gustafson's going to be able to take his best shot and throw it back.
Yeah, and Gustafson fights a lot better. Teixeira is really... He's not been fighting well. He didn't fight good. I think he threw, one kick?
Honestly, I don't even think Lionheart wants Corey Anderson.
Let's see, that's a fight I think would be a good matchup.
Yeah.
But
Corey
looked all right in the co-main today.
It's just strange because there's really no division where you're like... It's like everybody's up in there, but no one's really fought anyone. You know, it's just like such a barren wasteland of a division. As soon as you get one signature win, you're up in the top 10 automatically, but you still haven't fought anybody in that top 10. It's really weird.
And the champ's up 40 pounds heavier.
Yeah, and then the other champ's on fucking suspension.
And the other champ's I'm beginning to think he's never coming back. John Jones is so crazy to me. We haven't heard a single thing about this yet from USADA. I mean, nothing, not a peep. And time just keeps going on and on. Yeah. It's fucked up. At this point, even if he's found innocent, look how much of his career has been taken back. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're not found innocent, but let's say they did manage to find a contaminated supplement. Unless this suspension is just about coming to an end by the time they make the announcement of what it is.
All right, please don't hate me for this, but I don't want John Jones to end up like later in career like Muhammad Ali did, when Muhammad Ali kept coming back. It was like, I'm still the greatest, so I'll just beat anybody. And then he had lost like really dumb fights that he didn't need to take. Like, I don't want to see that happen.
I don't want to see that happen either. Hell no.
And I feel like all these suspensions and stuff is just causing him possibly to happen to him, because they're taking his prime away, dude. Come on.
Absolutely.
Taking the greatest fighter of all time, his prime, away from him.
Over nanoparticles of a substance. Oh, but we don't need to go into that whole long thing. We've done it over and over on this podcast. And hopefully we'll get some fucking resolution there real soon. And so the division can move on, and we as fans can.
This division really just is sort of shook up, but not really. You know, Smith's just in there now. It really depends on where we go from here, you know? Because does he get the Gustafson fight? Does he not? If he
probably won't. I mean,
probably
the chances
won't,
are probably not. So who's he going to fight? I think Corey Anderson versus Anthony Smith would be a great matchup. But
well, and Corey Anderson after his fight said he was offered Gustafson after his fight, and that he was offered Gustafson if he won this fight, and he said no.
Yeah, he said he did not want to take Gustafson. He said that right into the mic in his after speech. Yeah,
that's just
it's
strange.
Crazy. Why would you say
strange.
that? Said he would take any fight other than the Gustafson fight on short notice because his wife didn't want him to, or something along those lines.
Either way, man, that's a life changer right there. That's a #1 contender's fight right there.
And if you're not going to take it, don't put that out there
and
in
then
your,
also,
in your moment, your fucking shining moment on national TV. Don't put out what you're not going to do.
Here's the thing: is DC for his last 2 fights are looking for the 2 biggest hype trains that he can get. You know, so that's why it's like really hard to say like, oh yeah, Lionheart's good. He's gonna knock some people out, and then he's gonna fight for the title. Because he doesn't have hype behind him. Here's the thing: most likely DC's last 2 fights are either gonna be 1 Brock Lesnar, 2 Stipe Miocic, or 3 John Jones.
It needs to be that Stipe fight. That if he was a real fighter, or, no, I shouldn't say that. He is a real fighter. If he wasn't just looking for a payday, Stipe is the fight to make. But
what kind of numbers did that do, though?
it did shit numbers, less than 400,000.
Really?
But with those eye pokes, I mean, more and more people. Yeah, it did 396 is what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I expected it to do big.
Yeah, honestly. It did not.
That's strange. Because that was a good card.
It was a good card, but at some point you have to wonder what the UFC's marketing machine is doing these days. They have to promote so many cards. There's no build-up. You got a week to get the word out on a pay-per-view, 2 weeks at the most.
It's because Dana's too busy talking shit on Instagram, dude.
Right. Dana's too busy dueling with Brendan Schaub and getting the verbal smackdown.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, we got some exciting cards coming up, though. You know.
Here's the thing, though, is this whole like UFC machine is being ran by stars, and none of their big stars are fighting right now. GSP isn't fighting right now. Khabib isn't fighting right now. Tony Ferguson is not fighting right now. Conor McGregor not fighting right now. Guess what? John Jones not fighting right now. Everyone's like, numbers are down. Oh, shit's in a wreck. Yeah, the numbers are going to be fucking down because they cannot convince anybody to go in there and fight because they don't fucking pay like people should be paid.
No, 100%.
That's really what it comes down to. Is Conor McGregor can go fucking do. He'll go fucking do any other sport in the world. They'll pay him $100 million. Like literally,
he'll probably go play soccer.
Literally,
paid at this point because he's
Conor. Ridiculous. Because how do like mid-level boxers get paid millions, but a mid-level UFC fighter gets paid what, like 25 and 25?
Yeah, if they're lucky.
30-30, you know, like, come on.
And when you're on that win and show money, I mean, you just guarantee that one person in that fight's getting half the money the other person is, which is a life-changing money.
Yeah.
Fuck. Especially when you add in managers, gym fees, coaches,
camps,
diets,
all that
camps,
shit.
Training partners.
All that
Think that
shit.
Shit's free?
Fuck no.
These guys don't get paid shit.
And then you still have to pay your bills at the same time.
Then the few stars they have, they don't promote. We just had Stipe. Stipe got brushed aside. It was kind of pissing me off. He didn't get promoted, and then now he's just got brushed off in some WWF.
Yeah, but here's the
donk fest.
Here's the thing: is it's not the UFC's fault that happened though, because if Stipe wins that fight, that catapults him into the spotlight. DC was put into the spotlight because of Brock. I know DC's always been big, and DC and John Jones and all that shit. But even so let's say Stipe won that fight. Stipe gets charged by Brock Lesnar. Are you still as excited for the fight as you were with DC and Brock? I'd probably be more excited. I think it's a lot better matchup for Brock to fight DC than it is. To fight Stipe than it is DC.
You're right. I would not be complaining about Brock versus Stipe because Stipe would have won. He would have defended a third time.
Here's the only problem with these kind of fights, though, is it's a win-win for DC in that fight. He wins. He is what he is now. But he lost. He just goes back to light heavyweight and continues to smash people. That's what I don't like about sometimes with these champ fights, because I think the way it should be fought is they should meet at a catch weight in the middle of both weights and put both titles up.
Yeah, I would like that too.
But I feel like that's what's fair. Because okay, even let's translate this over to Bellator. Rory McDonald, Gegard Mousasi. There's a win-win for Rory, because Rory can win that shit, go fight in the welterweight tournament, hold that belt for the next year, 2 years, hold that division up, win the Bellator tournament, and then come back, defend that title once, and retire.
True.
Literally. Because Roy's at that age too, like in the same way like DC is going to do to the light heavyweight division and heavyweight division. These champ fights that are they're never for both titles, but I think they should be, because it's just stupid. It's like, why does one guy have to pretty much give up his entire legacy for one fight? Like, Stipe is obviously still one of the greatest heavyweights of all time.
Absolutely.
But everyone's going to, just like DC at light heavyweight, he still has that asterisk against his name because he lost to John Jones. Stipe is always going to have that, you lost to DC. When the big fight, when the lights were bright, what happened? And he got knocked out by DC, and then DC got knocked out by Jones. You know what I mean? It's just like one of those situations where it's just when the lights are on, everyone's watching. The stars are going to make themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. I guess what rubs me the wrong way with it being DC is just that what's his number one complaint about John Jones? What's he always saying? Drugs, the drugs, right? Brock got suspended at the same time as John Jones for the same fucking drug as John Jones.
Yeah.
Is on suspension for a drug, and DC's up there and suddenly, oh, no, that's cool. But wait, I thought you were Mr.
Money talks, man. Money talks.
Right, which means DC is really just kind of full of shit.
He's just full of shit, yeah, for sure. He's even admitted he's full of shit, though. Even after he goes, if Brock Lesnar stormed the octagon and asked you to fight him, would you say no? Everyone wants that fight, man.
Well, of course they do. I don't know. It is what it is.
It is
the
what
UFC
it's just like
fault.
It's what it is, dude. He's just like a fucking sideshow, man. Because it's like not that he's even like a great fighter. He's just like, dude, look at
when
this
was his last
big
win
ass
in the
motherfucker,
UFC?
dude.
I mean, yes, he beat Mark Hunt, but let's talk technically. It was a no contest. So when did he win? 2011.
Shane Carwin.
Yeah, right? Shane Carwin.
Yep.
Who thought about going?
Who he submitted
to Risen?
Did you?
But was it deserved? He thought about it, and then he said, "Yeah, my back's too fucked up, and I'm too old."
Yeah, dude. Let's get the rematch. Run it back.
Oh, God bless it, but it's happening. It's what we got. Yeah. But there are some real fights coming up. Like we got Dustin Poirier versus Eddie Alvarez in the horizon.
Yeah,
that's a fucking real fight. That's a good fight right there. A rematch.
We got Poirier in epic fashion.
Poirier's been looking really sharp at 155.
It's not even that he was looking that sharp. It's he whooped Eddie's fucking ass in the first one. And Eddie
he was all over him.
Eddie found a way out. You know.
I don't know if he found a way out.
I think so.
I hate to say a fighter was looking to get out of a fight, no matter who they are, but it's possible. But he certainly didn't want to take that rematch. That's for sure.
What's strange, though, is it was a no contest. And really, like, it was almost like Poirier lost in the public's eye. Like, Poirier, had trouble getting another top 5 opponent after that.
Yeah.
And Eddie Alvarez gets Justin Gaethje when he was, what?
No, you're
fourth
right.
in the division?
Somehow Alvarez came out looking good. And
somehow Alvarez came
like
looking out like it was just like, oh, Alvarez won that shit. You know?
Yeah, that was a little odd how that played out in the public. For sure.
For real. Because then, think about it. Eddie Alvarez went on, fights Gaethje, beats him, catapults him even further. Everyone's like, oh, he's right back in the title picture. You know what I mean? And then Poirier beats Gaethje, and everyone's like, oh, he's a beat-down fighter. You know? It's like, come on, guys. How long are we going to just deny Dustin Poirier? I get it. He's not ever going to beat Conor or ever going to beat Khabib. I think he definitely beats Eddie, though. I think he goes out and puts it together.
I mean,
maybe he could fight. I don't know about maybe give Khabib a good fight, But I think he'd be.
I think he'd give Khabib a good fight.
I think he'd be shell shocked if he fights Conor again.
Conor would destroy him.
Yeah.
Khabib, he'd have a better chance against Khabib than against Conor if he can learn to avoid that takedown.
Now Tony Ferguson's back in the mix. He's talking about he's going to be back soon.
Are they going to call him the former interim UFC champ at every introduction now? Or are they just going to pretend that never happened because it was like 90 days and there was no fight?
Well, did you see what they did in the rankings, too? They put him in front of Conor.
They put Ferguson in front of Conor?
Yeah.
Because
it's 1 and then 2.
Why? Because UFC rankings.
Because, yeah, that's why. Well, and here's the deal. I don't even think Conor should be on there right now.
No, he shouldn't be ranked right now.
He's got legal shit to deal with and all that shit. But Ferguson most likely is going to fight for the title next, I think.
You don't think? Well, because we're going to have some resolution to Conor here in the next 3-4 days. His court date's coming up.
Are we, though? Because
but I don't
the justice system is so slow, dude.
I think they're going to make a deal, but I don't think we're going to get any news on a fight with Conor. I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
He looks
like he's in the gym more. He looks like he's in the gym more. He's been posting a lot of sparring, all this shit. And it's like he could be in the gym, but I don't necessarily know if he's ready to go back yet.
You know what bums me about Conor McGregor?
What's that?
If he comes back, I think we've got anywhere from 1 to 3 fights left.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it ever.
Here's what I'll give you the rest of his career right now. It's going to be Khabib, Nate Diaz, GSP. That's what's gonna happen. Or Khabib, GSP, Nate Diaz.
I could see those. The only one I think might not happen is the Diaz fight.
You don't think so? I think he ends his career on the Diaz fight. Because that fight's still gonna make so much.
I think that GSP fight's a legit
money, dude. That Diaz fight, him and Diaz.
Will it? If Diaz never does anything since the last fight? I mean, Diaz is harming himself by not.
You buying it?
Buying what? The fight?
Diaz McGregor 3.
Dude, of course I am. So is everybody else.
Here's the thing, though. Is like, that... Here's what was different with, like, Conor and Diaz. Like, during that time, even people who didn't watch fighting, like, it was one of those, like, moments in the sport, you know, kind of how, like, Mayweather and Pacquiao was, where it was, like, everyone who, like, even if they didn't watch fighting, they still watched that shit because the first one was so crazy that everyone figured everything out. So the second one, everybody fucking saw that shit. You know what I mean? It was one of those shit, like changing times in the sport where, like, it just... That's why more UFC, like, tends to trend more towards, like, casual fans, because, like, when big events like that happen, and some people just order shit just to see, like, big events, you know?
Yeah.
People, even if they don't know what is going on, if something big is going on in sports culture or anything like that, people like to be, like, in that moment, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's, like, such a legacy fight for those two, that it's like it attracts more outside of the sport attention than it is more of like that fight needs to happen for him to get a title shot, or him to retire, or him to do that, or him to do this.
Yeah,
it's more of one of those fights that's just like, let's go make some fucking money and entertain these fucking people. You know what I mean? Like that's literally one of those fights, because Nate's probably never going to fight until that fight happens, so he doesn't deserve any kind of title shot. And Conor's probably going to piss the whole division off, because if he wins the title again, he's just going to be like holding it over his head. Come find me, motherfuckers. Like,
he's probably going to get stripped again.
Yeah,
and then fight GSP at a catchweight. But speaking of that fight, GSP Conor, have you seen GSP on Instagram lately?
Yeah, he's looking a little small.
He's looking a little on the skinny side, for sure. He's nowhere near that 185. No.
Here's the deal, though. Do you think
nowhere near
it has to be Conor or Khabib, or do you think he'll fight each one of them separately?
I think it depends on how that Conor Khabib fight plays out. If Conor goes out and just smokes him and KOs him and exposes Khabib's stand up for what it is, and kind of makes him look like a one-trick pony, I don't know what GSP. What does GSP have to win by beating him after that? If it's some epic back and forth war where Khabib comes out with his reputation
Not necessarily,
unscathed.
'cause I think if fucking Conor comes out and starches Khabib, dude, that'll fucking propel him into the fucking, like, into the universe, bro. That
How's he not gonna starch him?
Fucking years off, not do shit, have $100 million in the bank, just go do coke on his yacht with his fucking, like, Jesus Christ, throwing dollies through windows, and then just comes back and starches a motherfucker. Do you know what that is going to do to his legend? Like, dude, that's what's wrong with Conor McGregor. Is he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to put a resume together. He just does shit that he wants to fucking do, and like nobody is stopping him. That's why people like him. People don't like people that are like, hey man, you know, I'll just fight whoever they give me. And Conor's like, nah, fuck you. This is my first fight in the UFC. Give me the champion next. You know, fuck him. He's a pussy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like different when there's people in the game where you don't necessarily have to beat the best guy. You just got to look fucking good doing it. Right. And you could get your way all the way to the top. That's kind of what Conor's done sometimes. But every fucking time he's dealt with huge adversity, he shows up, man. You can't deny it. He always shows up.
I don't see him versus Khabib being a contest. Maybe if it was 2 years ago. Maybe if it was Conor that fought Chad Mendes.
Here's the deal.
I'm sorry. You think Conor doesn't have a takedown defense after all this time? All this time working with those wrestlers, all this time on the ground with Dylan Dennis, and all this time on his striking with that Mayweather shit? You think he's not going to go out there and just light Khabib up?
Here's the problem with that, though. Has he been focusing too much on the boxing and the striking and all that stuff to have not really been focusing on what the fuck was going on in the UFC? You know what I'm saying?
His team is smart. Kavanaugh is a smart man.
Yeah, they're smart, but at the same time, people even close to him said after the Mayweather fight, they were like, we don't know if he's ever going to fight again.
Yeah, but that was because of that money, though. And if he hadn't had that shit happen with Nate Diaz, the loss, I would say, yeah.
Here's my point, though.
But he learned his lesson.
Yeah, he's been away for a long time. But how much has that time been him focusing on changing his game? And how much has that been him just going out and having a good time because this is the time of his life, you know? That he wants to fucking go out and party and he fuck the UFC and I don't care. I just made God knows how much. You know,
I think he had a bit of that, but I don't think that, like you just said, it looks like he's been in the gym. What do you think he's working on in there?
Yeah, but I'm talking like for a month, 2 months. He hasn't really been like all over like. I've seen more videos of him partying than I do fucking in the gym, dude.
Yeah, a lot of that's image, though. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that it's fake, but it feeds that image. You know. Like
here's my thing though, is there's a risk reward factor when you're Conor McGregor because you could just say fuck it, retire now and never have to fight again, and everyone would be like that guy was a fucking gangster. The UFC held him down and he just fucking said whatever and retired, or he beats Khabib and fucking that we go from there, or or let's play it this way. If he loses to Khabib, it's over. All this shit, it's over. Unless it's some bullshit. Unless it's some bullshit split decision or like if he loses to him like he did to Nate Diaz, it's okay. But if he gets mauled by Khabib, the story's over. He might as well retire at that point.
Might as well. You might still let him milk that trilogy fight.
Who the fuck cares? No, because who cares at that point? At that point, you look at that trilogy fight. Okay, yeah, Conor. What do you want to see him lose again?
Especially since it took 2 years since his last MMA fight.
So let's say he just walks away right now, cuts his losses, whatever. He's got plenty of investments and all kinds of stuff all over, and just do whatever he's going to do. Or he comes back, starches Khabib, and does it.
He's going to starch Khabib.
Or, dude,
he's going to put that motherfucker to sleep.
There's too many variables to really just be like, yeah, he's just going to come back and win. Because, yeah, Khabib was boring on his feet, but Conor's not fucking with that. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. But Conor is not fucking with Khabib's wrestling. I'm sorry.
You mean the Khabib's wrestling that Ally Quinta was handling?
bro.
You mean that after that third round when Iaquinta was stuffing them takedowns?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
You don't think if that had been Conor, that would have been over?
Here's the thing.
Would have been
Conor
over
and
if that was
Khabib
Conor.
have the same gas tank.
Would have been over.
They have the same gas tank is the problem. So if Conor gets ridden out by Khabib for 3 rounds, Conor's going to be gassed. And if Khabib rides out Conor for 3 rounds, he's going to be gassed. So then it's just going to turn into what happened in 3 rounds is going to go to the judges' scorecards. And I think that Khabib, if he can handle Conor on the ground, will beat him for 3 rounds, and it will go to a stupid split decision.
He's going to march right in. He's going to go rushing right at Conor and get KO'd.
That very well can happen. And I hope that happens. But being realistic, it also could go extremely bad.
I think that Iaquinta fight just exposes it. I think if that had been Conor, good night, Khabib.
It's hard to say that, though.
Good night. If that had been T-Ferg, it's all over. If that had been Max Holloway, it's all over.
It's hard to say that because styles make fights, and he was training for a complete different style fighter.
Yeah, I think there's a better chance of Conor's improved takedown defense.
No doubt. I'm not
Khabib's
doubting Conor. Trust me. I'm just being realistic and saying that, not doubting Khabib's ability, because Khabib is a great fighter.
Well, he's a great fighter, obviously, yeah. But we're talking at levels. I don't think.
But here's the thing.
I don't think his wrestling is going to.
Think Conor takes T-Ferg?
Yeah, I think he takes T-Ferg too, because T-Ferg's defense is just he's a little too wild. And after all this boxing, Conor's going to come in with even more precision and timing. He'll eat him up. He'll eat him up on the feet. T-Ferg will try to strike, and he'll eat him up on the feet.
Yeah, but then do you think he pulls guard?
Yeah, he's going to get on some jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I mean, if it's just a straight jiu-jitsu match, Ferguson wins against McGregor. But in MMA, I think all this time with Danis, all these years now, people seem to think that it's the same Conor.
A lot more credit than he deserves.
Well, it's been years, though.
Has it, though? Dude, this all goes back to what I was just saying. How much has this time off been partying? How much of this time off has been in the gym?
I have more faith in Conor learning that lesson from Nate Diaz, whooping his ass on national television, that he's going to keep up with his shit.
Yeah, but he was...
Especially now that he's got multiple children now. He's got another child on the way.
What?
Yeah, Conor's got Devlin is pregnant with a second baby.
Dude, I thought they were getting divorced like a couple months ago.
Oh, she's got another kid on the way.
Jesus Christ.
Ain't nothing make a man more serious than when you start having children. Start being like...
Or also make a man want to step the fuck out of the game.
That's why we're saying, 1, 2, 3 fights maybe?
Yeah.
Which sucks because he's 30. He could fight for the next 5 years.
Here's the problem, though.
No, we're getting... I say 2 fights.
It really comes down to where his head's at. Because the last thing I want to see is Conor McGregor end up back in the game without his head in the game.
No, that'd be terrible.
Just doing it for the money and just like, fuck it. Win or lose, I'm just going to collect the check and keep it moving.
I don't think he'd do that because those checks, he starts losing, the size of those checks starts dropping, and then what's the point?
True.
If you got $100 million in the bank, why are you going to go fight on TV even for $100K? Like, really? Yeah,
but then you can just start going and do freak show fights all day.
Go with boxing. He can go all box. He's got at least 2 boxing fights in him that were big money.
He could fight 2 more times in boxing and honestly get whooped 2 more times and easily make.
He can still pull that Molinari fight off and probably make $10 million off that easy.
Dude, he can probably make more than 10
probably more. And De La Hoya would probably fight his ass too.
Or Pacquiao.
Pacquiao
coming off the win.
He could lose all 3 of those and get paid.
More than he would fighting Diaz twice.
Yeah, that's the thing. And still have his MMA rep
what?
intact.
He only made... Didn't he only make like $3 million from fighting Nate Diaz? Mm-hmm. Like, come on, dude.
Disclosed, yeah.
Come on.
That ain't shit.
I mean, that's just his purse.
I mean, that's high for UFC. But
that's just his purse, but at the same time, come on, dude. And then you got guys like in boxing, like younger guys like Deontay Davis. He still makes like $50 million a fight, dude.
Right.
Like, absolutely. What the fuck?
It's crazy. Man, we went off on the Conor McGregor tangent.
You have to sometimes.
Shit.
You kind of have to.
We need this man back. Hopefully we get some good news this week.
Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo's fighting Jeremy Stevens. Next weekend as well.
You think Jeremy's got a chance? I want to see Jeremy with the win. I would love
it. I think Jeremy wins this fight, honestly. I think Jeremy wins this fight, and I think he gets the winner of Holloway Ortega.
I want Jeremy to win this fight. I don't think he's going to do it, but I want him to. I hope he does.
My problem is with Aldo is Aldo's lost his savagery.
Yeah, oh, that he has.
And Jeremy has not whatsoever.
That'd be some shit if Jeremy slept.
You gotta think how much Jose Aldo's head is still in this. Back-to-back humiliating losses, literally in the same fashion 2 times to Max Holloway. And now you're bouncing back against a guy who's on a 4-fight win streak and has knocked 3 of the last 4 guys he's fought out.
And he was just looking really sharp.
Savage.
Man. Yeah. Jeremy Stevens is
really
looking
comes
at a
down
career
to
best right now.
It really comes down to which Jose Aldo comes into this fight. Is it the Jose Aldo Vold, or is it the Jose Aldo that will fucking just throw with you because you hit hard? Because if he wants to do that, he will get flatlined by Jeremy Stevens.
Yeah, I don't
he tries
think
that shit he did with Max, where Max hit him hard once, and he's like, all right, whatever, then fuck you. And just, dude, he was so gassed by the second round. I mean, this is only a 3-round fight. He's lucky.
Jeremy Stevens hits harder than Max Holloway.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He'll sleep him if he tries that.
For sure.
Absolutely.
The only problem with Jeremy Stevens is, hasn't he already lost to Max Holloway?
A while ago, I'm pretty certain.
Which could make the UFC hesitant to rebook that fight. Because from what I remember, I think Holloway schooled him. I'm pretty sure.
That's the
Pretty
thing,
sure
though.
it was
MMA,
a 3-round to 0 decision.
Jeremy's since then, if they did fight, it was a while ago, and he's certainly been on a vast improvement since then. He's on a nice streak.
Who the fuck is
One
that?
of the greatest lines ever.
Oh, dude, it's classic. But yeah, man, I think it's really going to come down to both these guys are kind of in a strange point in their career because they're both like came in around the same time, and they both have had leaps and they've.
Well, yeah, if Jeremy loses, they're going to say that's his ceiling right there.
Yeah,
and if Jose loses, you're going to say that's it.
That's it for him.
That's peace. Jose's done.
This is a legacy fight for the both of them, honestly.
Got a good
I'm
one.
surprised they both accepted this fight. Because this is, if I was either one of these guys, there's plenty of other young guys on that roster I'd take instead of each other.
Well, I could see Jeremy wanting it because if he knocks,
Jeremy for sure. But I'm talking about Aldo.
Aldo.
That's a young, hungry fuck. He's not young, but he's hungry as fuck, man.
Now's his move. Now's his time.
Yep.
Be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
We got Joanna versus Tisha Torres.
Yep.
Young Jedrzejczyk sticking around at 115 pounds to the surprise
I think is strange. And
both of us.
I don't know about it.
I don't know either. I don't like it. I want her at 125. I don't know what she's thinking.
Unless her last weight cut wasn't as tough as the ones before. And maybe she thinks that this is where she's going to stay.
Well, she had the nutritionist problems, she blamed the loss on a nutritionist team, which she fired.
Yeah.
And then handled the weight cutter on her own, as far as I understand it.
Yeah.
And then obviously made weight,
again.
but then lost again.
Yeah. I couldn't believe she lost twice, dude.
And Rose on the come up. Rose finally put it together.
Well, really,
Jedrzejczyk should have gone up.
This is a strange fight for Joanna because I feel like she took this fight because she felt like if she beat Tisha, she'd get another title shot.
That's what she thinks. But no, Rose hasn't fought anybody in between.
Rose hasn't fought anybody in between. And if Tisha beats Joanna, Tisha does get a title shot.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Which is just one of the... Which goes back to, like, why are you taking this fight?
No, she's got her rival,
you have nothing
Shevchenko, down or at 125 now.
And Dana is always, like, loved you, so you're going to get big fights if you ask for them. You know? They're not going to leave her out in the fucking ring.
Well, she loses here. If she does lose to Tisha Torres, she's at 125 for sure.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And she might even be able to walk right into a title shot if Shevchenko wins against Nico. So that's a possibility.
Dude, I can't believe Nico finally fucking accepted the fight.
Let's keep our fingers crossed we actually see this. That division's got to move forward. For God's sake, if she don't make it to this fight, I hate to say it, they should strip her. For God's sake, the division's got to go.
It's got to go for sure.
It's a brand new division. You can't stall it. It needs to be rolling like a train right now. Fuck.
Well, and it has, honestly, at everywhere except the top.
Yeah, everywhere but the top.
There's been plenty of, like, good, like, mid-level, like, fights. Yeah. It's like, all right, this. It's a good division because it's an in-between. It's for all the tweeners and, like, women's, like...
Yeah, they needed it so bad with just 115 and 135. That was such a crazy... Do you remember when... Valerie Letourneau made the cut from 135 all the way down to 115.
I didn't know that.
Oh, my God. It was the scariest. I saw the weigh-ins. It frightened me. I never want to see anything like that again. She looked like she was going to die on the scale.
See, the women's,
I mean,
the
oh
whole
my
like
God. They needed
women's
this
fighting
division.
like divisions are in a strange like spot in the UFC because you've got like they introduced 25 and 45 at the same time, hoping that both of them would get the same attraction, and 45 has really not gotten that much, you know.
Really?
And what's
Well, let's see
funny
who's
now,
in the division. There's
hold on.
Cyborg. And,
What's funny now is Cyborg
yeah.
is talking about she's going to retire after fighting Nunez. So are you just going to scrap this division when Cyborg leaves?
yeah.
Like, it's strange.
It,
Because then you have 25, which I think is probably the most flourishing division in women's fighting right now.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
better than 15 and 35.
no, 100%. I agree totally.
Honestly.
Yeah.
There's much better fighters at 25 than 35 and 15.
There's a lot more experience there. These girls really starting off.
And there's
looking
plenty
sharp.
more fighters that could integrate into that 25 division and really do some damage. Like if Joanna goes in there, or even what's her name? The Brazilian chick who just
Claudia
fought.
Gadelha,
No, just fought Tisha.
Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, Andrade. She could fight 25 for sure. She's got so much power in those hands.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I think she has a much better chance at the title at 25. Because I don't think Rose is a good fight for her. I don't know. Both champions at 15 and 35 are like kind of real dominant. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna be champ for a while.
Dude, Rose for sure, man. With that second
Unless
beatdown,
Rose lets the mental game get to her, because she's
well, she hasn't been the same since that Conor McGregor bus attack. There's
don't
some
get it.
strange things going on there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
But
very weird. I don't know what to make of that situation. She's talking about like PTSD and
Yeah.
counselors, and
strange.
I
Yeah,
I hope she comes out all right. But I can't wrap my head around that. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, so I think this fight
Yeah, there's that. I hope she gets through that.
This fight is a #1 contenders fight for one person, but Joanna really doesn't gain shit from this fight, man. She shouldn't have took this fight.
She shouldn't be in the division.
Yeah. It's over for her at 15. She needs to move along. When you lose twice for the title, it's like eventually a dominant champions always get rematches, you know? And if a dominant champion is beat twice, that means the division is kind of moved past them, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Very dissimilar to like Anderson Silva, Chuck Liddell, those guys. When they lost twice, everyone was kind of like, oh, that was their time, and now it's kind of gone, you know?
Well, speaking of champions losing twice in the same division, we got another big fight coming up. This rematch. We got Cody.
There's
versus
two big
TJ.
rematches on this card. You got DJ.
We got DJ versus Cejudo at the top of that card.
And
Yeah.
then TJ and Cody. TJ and Cody's always a tough one to like really bet on, because whenever you train with someone and you know how they tick, it's kind of hard to really decide like, oh, this guy. It's just hard to guess with the fight like that, you know, where two guys have trained with each other for God knows how long, and then they like aren't training with each other for a while, but then their path cross like during their careers. It's always like fun to watch, you know. Like when Arlovsky and Ronda's husband fought.
Travis Brown.
Mr.
Mr. Ronda Rousey. Yeah.
Mrs. Rousey. I mean,
Mr. Rousey. Well, you know, so what happens here? Let's say TJ comes back, he wins this fight. Now we're talking about when you lose twice to the champ, that means the division's kind of moved on. But Cody's such a young fighter. He's like what? He's 8-1, 8-2. He's had like 10 fights.
Well,
11 fights.
Here's the thing though, is if you're Cody and you lose to TJ twice, you're not fighting for the title as long as TJ is champion.
Right. But he's got plenty of years to stay in that division and wreck people.
I just mean when you're on the back end of a career.
Sure.
Like,
say if it had been reversed, Cody won the last fight, DJ's back again, fighting him in a rematch, loses again, well then, yeah.
It's like, all right, yeah, maybe he should change weight classes. Or maybe he should just wait it out until he's not champ and try to get another shot. Which is what's going to happen if Cody loses. You know that, dude. If Cody loses, he's got to put another probably 3 to 4 wins together before he gets another title shot. And it cannot be against Dillashaw.
No, there needs to be a change into the guard before he can start chirping for a title shot. But that only makes sense. What about, who do you like? I think, personally, I think TJ's going to win that fight again.
I think Cody takes it.
You think Cody's going to take it?
Just because TJ's,
to see.
I don't know, TJ's, I think he's a little too, like, I'm the best right now.
Yeah, he's been trying to say he's the greatest bantamweight of all time with a win over Cody, which is ridiculous because you didn't beat
anybody.
Dominic Cruz. Like, Dominic Cruz is the greatest.
Yeah.
Sorry, he is.
Mm-hmm. Unless Cody Garbrandt were to beat TJ Dillashaw and then beat Dominic Cruz again, Cody Garbrandt is the GOAT of the bantamweight division.
It'd be hard to argue with that, especially with the rematch against Cruz.
It's hard to call anybody
fasciitis.
GOATs in these fucking divisions.
I know.
Because they're so young in their, like, weight classes.
Right.
Like,
it's the easier conversation.
Bantamweight has been around, what, 7 years?
Right. It's a new division for us too. 6
years, maybe. It's like, come on, man. Same thing with, like, DJ. It's like,
yeah, we got DJ.
We got and that's another division that's real young. You know, it's still in its infancy, and DJ is definitely the GOAT of.
Yeah, you can't argue with him being the GOAT of that division. At the
that division,
least. If not of all fighters, but that division, there's no argument there.
It's just at the same time, there's just nobody in his way. You know what I mean? It's just like, god damn.
Mm-hmm.
Except Henry, man. Henry could really. I don't know.
His striking's improved.
Yeah, but his durability improved. Because I think, dude, he took one knee to the body and was like, oh, fuck, and went down. I know that's like placement.
He's a killer in rematches too, man. He
beats you worse.
Yeah.
Ask
I mean,
John
I'm pretty
Dobson.
certain every time, yeah.
You know, like, fuck. It's tough. It's a tough
game.
Benavidez,
he KO'd him in the rematch.
Yep. I think DJ needs. I'm telling you, man. Here's what I think these were strategically placed on the same card.
You think that's going to be the fight? If Cody loses,
if DJ wins, DJ's going to call Dillashaw out. If fucking
we're going to get that super
TJ
fight.
Dillashaw wins, he's going to call DJ out. But this is really going to be on Dillashaw.
Then we're back to that champ fight again that we were just talking about how it fucks shit up.
It does.
But we're going to like
it does, but there's no stars in the UFC right now. If John Jones was fighting, McGregor was fighting, and I don't know, everybody else. Let's say that nobody who was in the top 10 to 15 was ever allowed to get suspended or injured right now. The UFC wouldn't have to do these fights.
True.
But that's just it's a business at the end of the day, and it's like these are short-term fixes for long-term problems. Just because you do this TJ and DJ fight doesn't mean shit, because then one of them's going to win and the other's going to be knocked into obscurity.
And a lot's got to happen, to go right for that to happen anyways.
Just like we were talking about with DC and Stipe. Stipe is in an obscure spot right now where people are like, yeah, he's one of the best heavyweights of all time, but DC's still the heavyweight champ, so fuck him,
Mm-hmm.
That's just where we're at, and that's the dynamic it creates when you do those champ fights. That's what happened with Conor, and everyone was so pissed off when it happened with Conor, but now that it's going to happen with possibly DJ and possibly is happening with Daniel Cormier, you don't see anybody crying. No one's crying.
This is DC gets a pass from everybody on everything.
Stupid.
But it is, but.
Oh my god. Alexander Gustafson pulls out of UFC 227 with minor undisclosed injury.
Man, that was just what I was going to ask you next. Is Gustafson going to get a fight on this very same card that we're talking about here?
Nope.
But guess not. Breaking news here.
Breaking news.
Gustafson is not going to be fighting Lionheart, that's for sure. So we can take that one off the table that we discussed earlier.
Yep.
He's just not going to be on the card, period. Because he's going to hold out for that title shot, man.
Yeah, he's got a undisclosed
Watch,
injury.
he's going to hold out for
Dude, no, he's holding out for a title shot or Luke Rockhold.
You're going to get a fucking interim.
He wants AKA guy.
You're getting an interim light heavyweight title. I guarantee
so?
you. I guarantee it. I bet you fucking ate the weed. Speaking of weed, we should smoke some.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'll bet you we're gonna get an interim light heavyweight title.
All right, I'll call it. I'll bet you an 8.
All right. Word. Before DC defends it, not just sometime in the future.
here's the thing. I don't think DC's ever going to fight at light heavyweight again.
Dude, he can't make that cut. He weighed 246 for that. He's not going to be at 39 years old cutting all the way back down.
I think he weighs that every day of his fucking life.
You think he swings that far down?
Yeah, bro.
I don't know. He might.
Dude, he's still got a gut at light heavyweight. So he's just cutting like bullshit.
Can you imagine if he fought at 185 or he should be? Like, imagine a DC that looked like Yoel Romero at 185. Ripping fuckers. He's
always been a big boy, though.
I mean, you can't discount his success at heavyweight, but whatever. He's a good fighter. I'm just not a fan. You hitting this?
Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Yeah, hit that up.
That's why I'm a dab over DC's face.
Dab all over DC's face. Hell yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, you should take this time to hit yourself a nice fat dab or puff of your herb right now as well. It's a nice little rig. I like these e-nails. We don't have to break the torch out on the air, which can get a little bit noisy. So with no Gustafson on that card, man, that kind of wraps up all the good fights, or the major fights on there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, we got that. I took a big fat dab cough going on. About to do that same thing. You know how it goes. We got some exciting stuff going on in Bellator, though.
Yeah.
We got some fucking some
big announcements this week.
You know, talk about the big boys. Gustafson talking about chasing DC to heavyweight. So we got interesting stuff in the Bellator heavyweights, right?
Yeah.
We got interesting stuff in the Bellator welterweights. Another Grand Prix announced to go along with the heavyweight one.
Yep. I like these Grand Prix they're doing. It's just I think they're a little too drawn out. Is the only problem.
Yeah, there's a long length of time before that next heavyweight fight. When is that again?
So they're going to be back to back on 2 nights, October 13th and October 12th and October.
And what
13th.
2 fights are those?
So October 12th is Bader and Mitrione, and then 13th is Fedor and Chael. I think the winner of the Bader and Mitrione fight wins the tournament.
I agree with you right there. That's a fight. That's a real fight right there. And Bader's been training with Stipe.
Yeah. Bader's been putting in the fucking work.
And that could be just what he needs to handle a big guy like Mitrione.
Yeah, for sure.
Mitrione's a big boy.
Keep hitting that shit, folks. Yeah, Mitrione's a big motherfucker. I think he really is the biggest person in this entire, the entire tournament. Other than
now that
Frank.
Mir's out, yeah.
Yeah.
God, I would have loved if Mir would have won that fight. But we got Chael versus Fedor coming.
Yeah, Chael versus Fedor. I think that's a strange fight. Because I don't necessarily think either of them has any fucking chance of beating Bader or Mitrione. Fedor.
Can you imagine Chael versus Mitrione, the size difference there?
Yeah, it would be ridiculous.
I mean, what is Chael 6'1", right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's coming up from 185 at one point.
I don't see it happening.
Mitrione's humongous, 6'4",
I think even Fedor's going to be big for Chael.
He could very well be. But I actually like Chael in that fight. I think if he doesn't turn it into a slugfest,
yeah.
I think
if Chael wrestles Fedor, he'll beat him.
He wrestles, ground and pounds him out. I can see it happening. And then I see him losing to Bader or Mitrione. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it for the tourney then, right?
Guess
Those
what
are the only
happens
ones left,
after
right?
that too. Then a whole nother division is put in obscurity with another fucking championship with Ryan Bader.
Right.
You know what that's called? The Conor McGregor effect.
The Conor McGregor effect, hell yeah. Conor McGregor effect when you got a dual champion holding up weight classes. I think we should call it that from this point out.
For sure.
So yeah, Bader will have that going on over there in Bellator. Interesting to see what they do with it. I could see them letting him stay just because the UFC probably won't let it happen. So I could see Bellator doing the opposite and keeping a champ. Same thing if McDonald wins in this welterweight tournament.
Because here's the thing: is Bellator doesn't have very many like up and coming the guys in the rankings that are like, well, we deserve to fight for the title, and he's not fighting that many times this year. So in the UFC, you're gonna have that, but in Bellator, it's like only so many guys emerge. So it's like, okay, well, oh, this guy put 2 wins together, he deserves a title shot. So the champ really only has to fight twice a year when you're in Bellator, once light heavyweight, once heavyweight.
Yep,
really.
absolutely.
You think about it. Because, like, when do really title holders change in Bellator?
Not very often. And they don't have to fill near as many events as the UFC does.
No way.
So we got some good, the welterweight tournament that was announced. We got all the fighters.
Yep.
I don't know the brackets yet, but we got the first one. Yeah. And that first fight is who? Is Koreshkov versus
Lima.
Lima.
It's a fucking
rematch.
Rubber match, too.
Rubber match. Fuck, yeah. And that's a great fight.
Great fight.
Dude.
Lima's gonna...
There's some
I'm taking Lima.
fights, man. Exciting.
Lima's a big fucking 170, bro. So is Koreshkov. Yeah. But Lima makes him look small.
Yeah, he does. He's huge.
Lima's a big motherfucker.
I didn't really notice how big he was until I saw him against Larkin. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I used to see him Larkin in the UFC against
We'll just run it down, basically. So it's Rory, Ed Ruth, Lorenz Larkin, John Fitch, Michael Venom Page, Neiman Gracie, and then, I don't know how you say that guy's name.
Yaroslav Amosov.
Yeah, I don't know.
Amosov. We're
and then
butchering
obviously
it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then obviously Koreshkov and Lima. But they're the first matchup. So there's some interesting fucking matches on here because it's gonna be it'll be two like pigtail matches, pretty much is what they call them in wrestling. So it's like you fight your way into the tournament. So the champion on the first seed and the second seed will basically have a blank next to them, and then the 2 people on each side will fight their way into the tournament.
Sure.
So these guys will fight one more fight than everyone else in this tournament. So I'm thinking probably what's going to be the next fight in my mind. As a fan, I see it being like Lorenz Larkin versus Michael Venom Page, Rory versus this guy. That I'm
Yaroslav.
Yeah. Then Ed Ruth versus John Fitch.
Ooh, Ed Ruth, John Fitch is a fight I like right there. That'd be
interesting because John Fitch's wrestling is not gonna fuck with Ed Ruth's wrestling.
No.
Ed Ruth will fuck
that
him up in the wrestling
Fitch's big
game.
advantage, and Ruth's hands have gotten pretty impressive lately.
Yeah,
like he's
definitely.
come a long way.
And then I'd love to see Michael Venom Page, Lorenz Larkin.
Oh my god,
that's gonna be probably the most exciting fight next to Lima Koreshkov.
Very
in the first
exciting.
round. But these are just my guesses. Obviously, these could all be.
Yeah, this could all be.
But as a fan, those are the fights that make sense.
Those would be great. We'd love to see them at some point in the tournament. That's for sure. And I think we're.
Oh wait, you know what it most likely will be though, is Rory won't fight in the first round. Neiman Gracie will fight.
Yeah, Rory's not going to fight in the first round because he's fighting Gegard, and he's going to need some time off from that. And he could actually be competing in the welterweight tournament as the middleweight champion, which would be pretty dope as well.
Will be dope, but hold the whole fucking division up also, man.
But again, I think, like you were just saying, though, in Bellator, or we were just saying, I don't know if that really matters in Bellator. In the UFC, it matters.
You beat Gegard, because Gegard's still there.
Yeah.
So, like, Gegard's going to want a rematch if Rory beats him.
That'd be some shit if Rory has to defend the middleweight title in the midst of the tournament. Say he wins, comes in, wins the first round in the tournament, and then before the next round, he's got to go back and defend the middleweight. Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be a great problem to have if you're a fan watching Bellator.
For real.
Those are things you can do when you're not the number one organization. You got to think
Paul Daly's probably an alternate.
Yeah, I was just going to say Daly, because they signed him. He had contract issues, which is why I think he didn't make this original list, is my guess.
I think he probably would have made it over Ed Ruth, probably.
Probably, or this Yaroslav, because we don't even know who he is. He's probably some great fighter that we're just unaware of.
Yeah, we're probably hating
There's only so many people we can keep track of.
Honestly, Koreshkov was supposed to be the man for a while and ended up getting the division took away from him. So this is really like going to be his defining moment in this tournament. Is he going to reclaim this, like, you know, this dominance in this tournament, or is he going to just be another guy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Similar to like Liam McGarry when everyone started coming towards the light heavyweight division, like Vader and
Phil Davis.
And stuff. McGarry kind of just
wilted and kind of faded. Couldn't hang with a lot of the top talent when it hit.
Because really, Bellator's had like a revolution of talent in the last like 2 years.
No, they've done a good job with some of their young prospects that they've been nurturing, and then getting some of these older UFC stars coming in. Yeah, they do. James Gallagher. Hell yeah. No, they're finally starting to come into their own on that. Yeah. Right with their deal with DAZN is coming in. Yeah. That's DAZN. DAZN. So it's pretty exciting to look at this shit that's going on in Bellator of all places. I think for right now, that's the most exciting fights that we got in MMA is this Bellator welterweight tournament. This
Bellator welterweight tournament. It's going to take forever, but it's going to be extremely interesting.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. Good shit. Hopefully we get some good news on Conor McGregor this week.
Yeah.
And get some excitement there, too.
Maybe some John Jones news as well.
Oh, my God. That'd be a dream come true. If we get this welterweight tournament going on in Bellator, we get some excitement in the heavyweight tournament, and then if we get John Jones and Conor
back, Eddie, then we get John Jones and Conor back, and then we all ride off into the fucking sunset.
Let's keep our fingers crossed on that one, right, folks? Shit, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're just in a strange. The summer's always strange for sports, you know.
Even in mixed martial arts, we don't really have a schedule, but. Well, you know, like with the lack of stars we were talking about earlier. Yeah.
You know.
100%.
Oh, I think that about does it, my man.
I think so, man. It's been a great show. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep.
If you're watching
go follow on everything.
Yeah, just go to S.W.A.T MMA, find all the links. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe.
That like button.
Find us on iTunes, Google Play, all the rest.
Follow us on Instagram.
We're going to get back to this fine little dab rig right here. Peace.
Later.